spring cleaning in your closet and you look on the floor, and you find that sock from like 2 years ago, and you don't know what to do with it, what do you do with it? Toss it out, right? And I'm a father to a 1-year-old son. He's a messy eater. This shirt is clean, it's just stained. I can't donate this to another kid, so what do we do with it? Throw it out. All this just ends up in the landfill. In 2019, I worked for a textile recycling company, and I was made aware of the textile waste problem here in New York City, and also the inefficient collection methods that go along with it. I began to ask people, what do they do with their slightly worn clothes? They told me they donated to Goodwill or Salvation Army. My competitors have, as you can see, they're very dangerous, unappealing, and they can even have fines for the property owners. We want to offer easy and entertaining recycling bins for the clothes of all textiles, not just the slightly worn. And to our solution, super bins. We want to have fun, engaging characters to teach people about sustainability and recycling. So these are the superhero team. And also we're going to have our bins equipped with field management waste sensor systems. So we'll have an app on our phone and it'll let us know when the bins are full so it doesn't end up like this. And on our website, we're going to have a bin locator tool so you'll be able to find the bin closest to you. Business model is simple. The clothes get donated, then they get collected, then they get resold to recyclers and wholesalers. We incorporated in 2022 and 23, we diverted over 250,000 pounds of textile waste from the landfills. We won a competition a few weeks ago. We've done several clothing drives, and we're also the official vendor for Comcast's Uniform Recycling Program. Woohoo! Thank you. Help save the planet one rip shirt at a time. Any questions?
How are you going to resource to make sure that there's always people available to collect them so it doesn't get overfull?
We're planning to grow the employees with the bins. So right now, myself and a driver can handle up to about 6 bins that we can do. Once it gets more than that, we'll just hire more people. And in hiring, we want to hire people that normally can't get regular jobs, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they've been incarcerated, maybe they have some mental health issues, and I want to give opportunities to them as well. This is more than just a bin company, it's also a social impact as well.
And as you say, your boxes will be just for recycling or for both donations and recycling?
Both for donations and recycling.
I'm a traveling DJ. I'm experiencing a vast number of cultural events and music. I'm Puerto Rican myself and also Black American. I have also a deep network of DJs and dancers. Event participants are able to take dance classes, experience different DJs and music, and it's all about exploring different cultures.
Along with about having a good time, so it's about creating vibe and break dance like
Very diverse. We work with music studios, Bronx breweries. We made revenue do ticket sales, more merch sales, grants. The Creators Rebuild New York was a basic income grant. I was able to get $1,000 per month to continue my stuff.
What you're planning to do here, like you already have a website, you want to develop more on it?
This money would be used to increase brand awareness through events, and a great portion of it will go to paying artist fees, renting space, and creating merch. How are we going to do that? Through community events, so people would be able to experience it for free. The cost would go to space rentals, artist fees, advertising. The average cost of an event costs around $2,000. We're going to be formulating an annual fundraising gala.
Audience members, fellow participants, and esteemed judges, Assalamu alaikum, and I'm a frequent hackathon organizer. I've organized Waffle Hacks for the last 3 years. It's an international hackathon, and every year we have 500 international participants from underrepresented communities in tech. And my partner Dylan is of Jewish American descent, and he is a sustainable technology startup founder. He's actually in Dubai right now to better understand how we can better serve our future participants. Where we witness many workers who look just like us, primarily South Asian workers from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And most of the time, these workers have high-level tech degrees from their home countries, but they're essentially worthless when they're abroad. So they have to work day in and day out in waste management sites and construction sites. The only difference between us and them was the fact that we had the privilege of a blue passport.
So my question is, if they have degrees, what is this providing them that they don't already have or have access to as people with degrees?
With programming, I'm sure you know, like you have to keep practicing to really get your gears moving. So the purpose of the education portion is so they have certifications that are accepted more internationally. The journey of a participant begins in the education portion. This is where laborers get to go back to those tech degrees. This is where they enhance those entrepreneurial skills, those business skills. Once they get these certifications, they move on to the hackathon round. This is where they form teams to create technical MVPs, to turn their ideas into a reality. There's dozens of tech conferences happening right now, ranging from AI to cybersecurity, and $1 billion. That's this room filled with dollar bills 1,000,000 times over. It's a lot of money. CUNY Startups, the Bureau Waste Management, and Renaissance Village. Most of these are based in the GCC region, and we have had talks of location as well as developing workshops further.
Is the GCC policy ripe for this type of work? Do you have support?
It depends on company to company, but certain people are under contract, so they can't just leave now. And there are people who aren't under strict contracts, so they would be able to participate in this program. And let's say a company in the GCC is interested in one of the participants, they could collaborate. The goal is to create a cycle where today's winners become tomorrow's mentors. We hope to show the impact of this pilot program by creating a promotional video that we can distribute to sponsors and participants. Even though we're not going to completely change this whole system, we hope to take steps to creating a better life for these workers that could have been us. Thank you.
EyeQ Health AI, a new computer vision solution that will change the way we view healthcare. When we analyze the general healthcare environment today, one will realize that there's a high patient-to-nurse ratio that increases the possibility for nurse fatigue, as well as potential missed opportunities to provide care to the patients who truly need it the most. And that's something I observed 2 years ago when my father was in the ICU. As with other patients who were recently intubated and got off the ventilator, he was unable to speak. In the year since, I've worked on another venture, which was IT consulting, and we've worked and completed a number of commercial IT projects related to data, networks, security, and AV. In the process, providing me 6 years of computer vision experience. Our generative AI will be able to compose a message with the changes in patient vitals or facial expressions to alert and notify the relevant healthcare staff, providing all the relevant information at their fingertips. By using tangible and intangible resources like a hospital bed, vitals machines, as well as patient consultants to act and train our systems on what pain and anger look like. So as part of my work in these other ventures, EyeQ will have access to resources, including some servers and computers, and of course, we'll have the most important resource, copy. That this will take us roughly 8 to 10 months to develop, and we fully anticipate it to be a functional computer vision and notification software suite. We'll be able to see the right care at the right time. Thank you.
So my understanding is that the current solution is that people are hooked up to vital machines, and when those machines show any issues, there's an alert that goes out, either it's a sound or they have the system they're looking at. So you're adding in this camera now that would give an additional feedback around the actual facial expression of the person, correct? How does that improve the process of knowing who to go to first that isn't already being addressed by the current vital machines?
Right. And that general surveillance operation isn't really providing the actionable intelligence for healthcare staff to provide the care to people who need it the most. It's pretty much guesswork right now. It's all human decision making. With that notification, they'll be more confident that, okay, this is something that I need to dedicate my time to right now.
Presenting to you something that I'm very passionate about. Noted. These are my notes. I have been making notes since I was 14 years old, and those Pinterest style notes really helped me motivate me to study. When I came to the States, I was always the person in class to also distribute these notes to my friends, among our friend circles and group chats. And I thought, this could definitely reach a bigger audience. So I wanted to create a website where I could post all of these notes, so a lot of people can access them even after I graduate. And of course I'll make money doing so, which is always great. You simply go to Noted, you put in your university, your course, and even a professor if you'd like. And from there, it's like making a purchase off of Amazon. You read the reviews, whichever note you like the best, you make that purchase. You have this resource within minutes. So instead of just sharing these notes individually, I also want to put across this profile feature, which will allow students to bundle their notes and sell it to a set target audience. So for example, this is Prinaka's profile, and let's say a freshman who is majoring in international business comes to Baruch, they'll be able to access all of these notes, and it'll provide them a guide as they go around their college experience. So not only will they be able to see the classes and the professors I've taken, but also perhaps the books I've read that aim to help me to facilitate this process, as well as certifications I've done and such.
How does the buyer know that they're going to be of good quality and worth the money to spend on it?
Sure, thank you for that question. So it's actually like when you're selling a product, right, like on Amazon, you're gonna read the reviews, and this product allows you to do that. First of all, people are incentivized to put up good quality notes in the first place because they're gonna be directly seeing how many people are buying this resource. Many of our competitors do not have that. So it's both a combination of the incentive of the person putting up the note as well as our maintenance, which we will conduct very regularly as well. We have our pilot project, which will be launched at Baruch College this fall. And through this, we'll be able to see how students are responding to this prototype, and from there, we'll be able to repeat it to other pilot programs.
Could you elaborate a little bit further at how that wouldn't necessarily detract from the value potentially? Because someone could just come and, oh, I just use generative AI to give me a summary. Like, why do I want to go and pay somebody for it?
Well, I think that individuals itself, they provide a lot of value to this because to begin with, you know, they're the ones taking those specific classes by those professors, and those notes and the quizzes and everything, the resources that professors are providing is not something that AI can just cook up. It is something that people sit through and they contribute value to themselves as well. And also we want to provide the student-to-student sharing platform. I know AI is coming, it's going to get very advanced in the future, can take over a lot of this, but we want to maintain this ability for students to share their resources, because just because AI is coming along doesn't mean people in class are not going to stop taking notes. We're still going to have those resources. AI will just help us, you know, make better resources. But in terms of incorporating it into the platform itself, I can just say, I'm looking for notes for COM 2020. What's the best one you've got? And you essentially just start a conversation with AI. That's how we want to incorporate it in the future. That's first of all. Second of all, we want to use it to make sure there's no plagiarism or people are not just copying and pasting notes from someone else, which is definitely going to be an issue as the platform picks up and gets more popular.
%4 of maternity issue are preventable, but new mothers are still dying from it because of racism and discrimination. And it's not just important, it's also the fact that black mothers has the highest percentages, even though they only make up 23% of the population that's giving birth. You open up the app and you put whatever content you have, and we match you with somebody that can take care of the whatever content you have. There's also easy switching from one expert to another in case you don't feel comfortable with, you know, the first choice. There's also texting and messaging option with your matched postpartum expert, just in case anything happens or you have, you know, other questions. For the most part, it was positive. They like it. They're gonna use it. The 20,000 is for the app development, like I said. Another 20,000 is for the new hires, and the 10,000 is for expenses and marketing. I had to reduce the price to $500 per users, and the 200 is for the cost, and that's for bringing a co-founder, because right now it's just me. I have a BS in economics and journalism from John Jay. I have 5 years in business management and development from when I helped my mom manage her business. And by the way, the business is still standing till today, so. Abiye is crafting a more healthier future for new black mothers to make sure they're alive, to celebrate their baby's birthday past 1 year.
I'm the founder, I'm a computer science major, and my partner, Bernard, is a computer science major and an Android developer for ClassCap. I developed an app as a freshman for international students at Queen's College that's currently being used. I have extensive knowledge in iOS and Android development, 3 years of AI experience, and 6 years of general programming experience. And currently I have 4 apps on the App Store and Google Play. We students most often take photographs of notes, slides, and exercises in class. This allows us to be able to listen to the lecture and not listen and write at the same time. These images, however, get saved in a vast gallery, which makes retrieving impossible, which drags down productivity. And for foreign students with English as a second language, that's a two-way problem. ClassCap is a new smart camera app that is designed to integrate into our classroom sessions seamlessly. The camera is able to integrate with your calendar and is able to detect the semester, the subject, and the topic as you take a picture in class. This allows it to store and sort these images by the semester, the subject, and the topic, making finding these images extremely easy for students while they're studying. Because ClassCap is live and running at Queen's College, majority of the funds will be used for marketing. This will allow us to build a brand awareness and build a relationship starting with CUNY. The rest will go into hardware, as we'll be able to add at least 1 terabyte of extra hard drive to our new service that we're building. With an estimated growth of 10 million users in the next few years, college and high school students consist of the majority, followed by researchers and PhDs with similar problems.
Can you talk a little bit about the specifics of how you plan on getting more users? You mentioned marketing, but can you talk a little bit about how you got those first few hundred and how you plan to kind of scale that up with the use of funds?
Well, the first 100, I started with my class. I got a few friends to start using the app, start taking pictures, and it sorts it out into subjects, discrete structures. Once they got to know about it, they start sharing with their friends, and it started growing at Queen's College. The plan is to bring in a marketing person who is a marketing major at Queen's College, create a project that will help students gain points while they share the app to the students. And at the end of the semester, we're going to have these students get a prize. And so we expect to grow internally at Queen's College and expand in the CUNY system. The progress in the last 2 months have been tremendous. I got the idea October 2023. By January 21st, it was approved by Apple and was available on the market on the App Store. In March, it was approved by Google and was available on the Google Play. Last month, we've had hundreds of downloads at Queen's College, and in this month, we are setting up new service that will run the new features we plan to release in the fall semester. We expect to get at least 10 million users out of 0.8% of the entire student population of college and high school students in the world by the end of the year.
So about me, I'm an engineering science major from Kingsborough Community College, and I'll be going to City College to pursue my mechanical engineering degree. And about 2 years ago, I started tinkering around with these single-use vapes that you see in everybody's hands. And I discovered a huge problem, is that they end up everywhere. The exponential growth of these vapes, they do end up in landfills where they're not allowed to be, because they do contain a in-demand metal that's called lithium. So since there's plenty of life in them, and it's cheaper for manufacturers to put in rechargeable batteries in a non-rechargeable vape. So inside these batteries, I do get donations, mostly from my peers or my friends or co-workers. Since you can see all the different shapes and sizes, that brought in the problem of how would I recycle them. So what I started doing is I came up with the idea of my first portable charger. It contains 30 batteries, which is about 8,400 milliamp hours. And for reference, an iPhone 15 Pro Max is about 4,400 milliamp hours. So you can charge your phone a little bit under 2 times. And it does have a thermometer and a fuse, so in case anything gets too hot, it does stop the charging. So this is oversimplified and poorly drawn, but this is how it is at home. We have a solar panel that charges this battery, which I made, which has 36 batteries. And think of it as like when people get solar on top of their house, it charges that, and then that goes in there and charges my portable charger for testing in case I need more energy. So how am I going to expand my domain? Of course, I need more vape batteries to clean up the streets and sell the product, right? So I partnered with KBCC's engineering club, which I'm a treasurer of, and I'm gonna put these in on campus, on bodegas, because that's usually high foot traffic areas, and the trash cans will be lined with fire-resistant materials.
You're one guy looking in the gutter like for a disposed of. I wear gloves, by the way, because I don't know which mouth is on those things. But what's it look like to scale? Because I imagine once you grow, you need to do the work, but also to get the batteries.
You can't throw these batteries into landfills, right? So if I have recycling boxes, I go pick them up after they get filled in high traffic areas where people buy a new vape, they just throw the old one out. So I could have the recyclers in the bodegas and go and pick them up. So that's how I'm gonna get most of my batteries in. But so far, I have plenty from my friends. Recycling bins, as I said, they'll be put in high traffic areas. I know a lot of concerts, people dispose of vapes on the floor, and you can't put them inside landfills. I do plan to expand into different markets like laptop batteries and other e-skate batteries. Website development, that's really important for e-commerce, because the portable charger market is a $6.5 billion market.
Are there other resources out there besides these disposable vapes that you can utilize to build your chargers? Can you share a little bit more about what are the other kind of options that you have besides just vapes?
So anything that is powered by lithium-ion batteries could be used several times. Most of the time, like for example my Dyson battery pack, the motherboard broke on the battery pack, so I decided, hey, people are throwing it out, they just left it on the street. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna turn it into a portable charger, which does get used. I use it as my like display model. I bring it into class. It's like, hey, you have a charger? It's like, yeah, I built one.
I'm a CEO and co-founder of Subzmanager. A customer can come in and buy a subscription for the chocolates, and they would pay, we would have their information, credit card information and their shipping information, and we will charge them recurringly for this, for the product that we send out to them. Well, I was tasked to manage this on Excel, which was very time consuming. It does not tell us when to send out that product. If a customer is expecting a product on June 1st and we send it out on June 5th or 6th, that leads to a lot of customer unsatisfaction and being unhappy. This problem costed us 20 hours a month for this small business to manage subscription, which was approximately $300. 120 billion e-commerce market, which our connectors are on Shopify, Squarespace, already hosts 77% of the e-commerce space. Subzmanager connects within 5 minutes to the major e-commerce platforms, Shopify, Squarespace.
There has to be
yes.
services that do this.
So there is services that do this, Shabbir recurrently. Shopify has its own features. But what we are doing for Shopify and all the bigger e-commerce space is we are increasing their features capacity. We are not asking businesses to move their platform from Shopify to us. We are just connecting to Shopify to manage more of their customers, provide niche features for their customers. Currently, the Subzmanager have organized dashboard, which showcases the dates when you're supposed to send out the product, to indicate whether you have sent out the product, reminds the employees that they have to send out a product on a particular day. I personally have 2 years experience in e-commerce, and we are supported by Blackstone and Zahn Innovation Center for any guidance on business and technology decisions. And that's it for Subzmanager. Thank you so much.
I built Acadu. Acadu is an online platform for students to study, use gaming with friends to study, and create their own study guides. So a little bit about the company. We were founded in late November. Since then, we've grown to almost 100 users that have answered over 2,500 questions. And we partnered with 3 New York City high schools. One of most recently, we also started working with the med school. As a student myself, we've got to go out there, make the study material, buy the study material, so this kind of time inefficiency, where we can redirect those efforts towards actually studying. Online study right now is not personalized, instead it is generalized, and the AI study platforms out there are enhancing cheating habits rather than actually helping the student study. So for the next 5 years, test prep's compound annual growth rate is set at 6.5%, and for the past 5 years, online tutoring has been growing at nearly 20% year over year. And yes, we're also growing rapidly at Acadu. In November, we began building. December, we beta launched and grew through some soft social media marketing. January, we grew further with some partnerships. February, we released our AI integrations and began working with Cornell med students to format Acadu for their Step 1 exam. March, we released customizable preps, grew our user base by 90%, and we've got 13 people using it daily. Yeah. And so some alternatives, Acadu has a free core service. We've got a social network where AI powered for personalization. It's a game, there's web access, and why would you cheat on your own study material? And you just have to hear what all the buzz that's going around the App Store. From Carla Diaz, a med school candidate who has to study weekly for exams, to just the reviews they're leaving on the App Store for us. So I'd like to explain what we plan on doing with the 10K by emphasizing what we've done with 1K over the past 5 months. So we've allocated these funds towards our online storage, AI research and development, and feedback. Feedback meaning building out the app based on the data provided by our user test groups. So a great example would be that one of these friend groups wanted to be able to share their study guides that they create. And so we built that out, we implemented it, we integrated it, released it, and that increased our user base by 16%. So as you study, you can gain points and you climb up the leaderboard. And finally, you can customize and boost your profile. Ladies and gentlemen, this is public, it's live on the App Store, and I invite you all to download it. Yeah, so you input your files, whatever you've got to study. So I'm a student right now. I get like hundreds of slides from my professors. I input it and it creates the questions based on the slides. So like rather than going out buying the material and then creating it, you get to create it right there. And for the SAT and the Step 1 students, we trained those models on the past 5 SATs. Step 1, they gave us their material and we formatted it for their Step 1 exam.
Do you integrate with Noted?
we will after this. I've never...
A problem? Well, us Gen Z and the youth in general, we love getting into arguments, right? Especially arguments on social media regarding things as little as, hey, is a hot dog a sandwich? Does milk go in before or after the cereal? All the way to very complex and pressing issues, right? Such as, is abortion a human right? However, when these arguments happen on popular social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what usually goes down? Do I even need to say it? Comment section wars, hate posts fueled with hatred and animosity. I started this platform with my co-founder and CEO, Anthony, after realizing just how horrible social media arguments are, right? So I took my experience in sales, strategy, and leadership through companies such as startups such as Better.com. Being part of the college startup community, we also have access to a tremendous amount of startup communities such as HBCU Digital Undivided Initiative, followed by CUNY Startups as well. Thank you, Remy. So you can see popular stuff like Twitch, Twitter, and Kialo come up, but Logist is the only platform that combines the competitive and engaging aspect of social media with the civilized and productive aspect of debating. How do we use the product? Well, you can just click Start Debating, and it will match you with someone online right now that also wants to debate. What are we going to debate about? Well, we help you figure it out, right? So you get a topic, and you can either click yes, no, or skip. If I click yes and my opponent clicks yes, we agree. There's nothing to debate about, right? Only when we get a yes and a no, that's when it's like, well, you guys gotta fight. And we do.
So essentially, we're gonna have a point system where you have a token and your opponent has a token, and only when you decide that the opponent performed better than you, you can give them that token, right? So you would lose a token, but you would also admit to the fact that they had a better argument, and therefore they're going to be rewarded for that.
So we've conducted customer interviews. We've spoken to 100+ customers on college campuses across various communities in the Gen Z and millennial range. We won a total of $4,000 in pitch competitions, including CUNY Startups NBA, followed by our early access list, and most importantly, MVP development and testing. We have a live MVP right now, and we tested it with 50+ users and using that feedback to build the final product.
We're gonna be, after gauging significant demand, we're gonna be introducing audience features as well, right? So the audience can actually come in and watch the debate and participate, and then there's a voting system that also decides who's gonna be the winner and loser. And if you lose, you're gonna be motivated to get on there and start debating and improve your skills while also learning about different perspectives.
You know, what does winning a debate look like? Because it could look like someone talking very nicely and sounding like they have a master of material that they've completely made up. So how do you control for the notion that if people are having a real debate, that it's rooted in fact? Is there any moderation going on?
Right. So the moderation that we're talking about in terms of facts and accuracy, we are counting on the audience to do. So the audience, a lot of the times when people pull up statistics or facts or opinions, they just search it up and they let you know in the chat, like, wait, hold on, this isn't right. You know, so when we have popular debates with lots of people watching, that moderation almost gets taken care of internally. In terms for such as like privacy and content, we will have a separate team to handle, you know, inappropriate content isn't published. We're going to be introducing artificial intelligence and a different moderation team to go through the topics that would be most important, like scraping through Twitter and online platforms and developing the model from there.
EasyMeet is a marketplace that simplifies going out in terms of planning trips or hangouts for groups or individuals, and it allows businesses to gain more access to its customer base, but with a low cost and targeted actions. When it comes to the business side, we allow them to send personalized promotions. If you already know the type of customer that likes your product, then they've shown interest, might as well send them an incentivized promotion to make sure they, actually come and guarantee execution. And most importantly, social media doesn't work in businesses' favors because social media pushes promotions 2 to 3 days delayed. We spoke to over 100 customers, and this long and lengthy process you see over here is the exact process they go through when planning a hangout. Now, as you can see, it's quite inefficient because only 40% of these hangouts actually get executed. Easy means is more efficient. Constantly stay ahead by adapting to users' taste, using an AI model to learn and suggest places based on their taste and automate plans. We'd be able to facilitate reservations, analyze specific analytics, send incentivized promotions, and promote non-peak hours. We're targeting young adults ages 18 to 29, and we're going to expand onwards from there. We've broken our plan into 3 phases. The most important and crucial phase is the first phase, the MVP. And this is really important, and this is why we need the 10K. We're going to be able to hire tech interns, have a pilot program for businesses, and also expense our geolocation and API integration. But what's so important is that we need that 10K to ensure that the platform works efficiently on both sides, from the business and the consumer side. We already have high demand to scale. What's limiting us is the tech.
How are you planning on growing both simultaneously, right? Because you need both to be successful.
Yes, so in terms of our goals, so we have access to CUNY students, and because our app is takes Hangouts from ideation to execution from both the customer and the business side, there is already high demand because it saves money and time. We adjust for budget. We even show you the commonalities between friends. So we have high demand. We're not worried in terms of the customer side. From the business side, it's more of we're networking at expos, and we've already onboarded our first business, and we're in talks with the second one. So that's how we plan to expand to the business side.
Is Maxwell. Maxwell, good job, man. Really, congrats. Second place is Raafe. Raafe, second place. All the way up. There you go. And then in first place we have Carlos. Carlos. Thank you so much.